Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the breakdown of the boat model that was uploaded last week. I said I wanted to do a breakdown because there was a lot of content in the model process that was sped up due to the time restrictions. So let's jump in. So here we have on screen is the breakdown, just some quick bullet points of factors that I'm sort of thinking about when I'm looking at parts to model and the influences that affect my modeling process. So design intent and manufacturing process, they sort of go hand in hand. So with reality, with products that are actually made in reality, they obviously have to conform to certain restrictions to be made. In this instance, I knew pretty quickly that the part would be made from injection molding. So you then start thinking, how is it made? So I created a quick diagram that shows my understanding of how it be made. So you've got this wavy line in the middle is the split line. So this would split the core cavity. The tool would go, top half would go up, bottom half would come down. The part would then be released. So this essentially means that this is impacting the geometry on the part because it has to be drafted in this direction to enable it to be released. And I don't want to get too bogged down to it. If you guys are interested in learning a bit more or want to ask me questions, that's fine. We can talk about it in another video. And then we've got part geometry and break the model down into steps. So I'm just gonna, here is the model. And because of the nature of the part, I decided to sort of tackle it in chunks, and we'll have a look now. I'll roll back the feature tree and I'll just sort of talk you through my process really. So if we can roll back the feature tree. So we started with this loft, and I wanted to focus at the start on the main sort of body of the boat, so the midsection. This was probably the easiest place to start. And it gives you sort of reference geometry to build the model up from. And then we've come in and done a cut, and then a drafted boss extrude, and then a cut on the back there. Some reference geometry. We've swept that sort of funnel in the back, and I've shelled here. And from my sort of experience, I find it quite helpful I've decided to shell fairly early. You can see in the feature tree, fillets go last. Generally, you always shell before you fillet. If you start filleting or chamfering before shells, it tends to start falling over. You're creating smaller facets and stuff, which make it difficult. So we've added some fillets in there to make it look nice. And then we've gone the sweep. So at this point then, this is like the first sort of step, and this has created the first body in the modeling. And this is, a bit of multi-body part creation. So notice I haven't merged them there because I decided that there's more going on with this, and we'd use this to build the next part. So decided to keep it separately at the moment. And then I've come in and done a surface extrude. I know I haven't really talked a lot about surfacing, but I intend to go into it in some depth when the time is right. So we've got surface extrude, and then I've used that to cut the body. And this is the beauty of keeping the bodies separate at this stage. You can manipulate and edit bodies individually, which is a very powerful sort of workflow. And we've got untrim, so that extended the front of the surface there. Offset the center to geometry, which I used to trim, there you can see. And then we've got another trim, and that was based on that sort of spliny sketch that I did on the top, and that used to trim. So that basically gives this profile from the top here. And then I delete one of the reference surfaces in the middle because I knew didn't need it. Ruled surface is a really nice surfacing tool. It basically gives, I've selected the path around here, and then it's given it draft. Kind of like a sweep really, but you have a little bit more control on it. Then surface knit, that means I've knitted these surfaces together to make them one, which has then enabled me to thicken it, so that turns the surface into a solid. And then I add some fillets there. And just to know, the bodies are still separate. So we've got 3 bodies now, 3 separate bodies. And if we keep rolling the feature down, my goal is to merge it, but the key is to sort of keep them separate, do all the, I like to do all of the manipulation sort of separately, and then merge them together when I'm happy. So this is the reason I kept them separate, was because I knew we needed to adjust the geometry on the bottom there. So I've done another surface extrude and surface cut, and then just selected that body, which has enabled me to manipulate it in context. Move face, this is just aligning the transition on the bottom here to basically set up the combine feature. And then we combine, and it's merged it all into one part. And just just going back to reference, this is just my workflow. There are other ways you can go about it. I just want to share my sort of workflow and give you my thought process really. And then to finish up is mainly the fillets. So this is just for uniform sort of wall thickness if we're molding. And there's areas that aren't perfect. I was looking back on the model, like there's some areas that aren't perfectly uniform, but in reality, when you go to do the manufacturing processes, there are sort of waves of revisions and stuff that you're dealing with manufacturers and stuff, and you're adjusting parts and stuff. This is just something that I basically created off my head, so it's never going to be perfect. And then hopefully it's just giving you an understanding of sort of my knowledge and my thought process. And finally, we put the split line in to give you the windows. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. I just wanted to run through it really and give you a better understanding. And I'd like to, hear your feedback. How do you prefer it? Do you prefer doing like a long modeling video with the time lapse and speeding it up, and then doing a slower breakdown like this, or do you prefer me just doing something simpler and talking through it? I don't mind. It doesn't make any difference to me. It's mainly what you guys find interesting and what you like. So okay guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And I've got plenty more content planned, so hopefully see you soon. Alright, thanks guys, bye.